Hello, everyone. I'm Andrea Trank. I'm a certified yoga teacher and health coach, and I own Heaven Lane Healing and Creative Arts. And this is your Superpose video, as I promised you. So I'm going to divide this by standing poses, seated poses, and lying down poses for ease of taping, so that I don't have to keep going back and forth. But my suggestion to you is to take one from each group or maybe two from each group and mix and match them when you have 15, 20 minutes a day. So that would be the idea, that this would be short, very densely nutritious yoga poses, easily acceptable to everybody, and able to be modified in a lot of different ways to make them the Yoga Superposes. So join me. So the first pose I'm going to show you is standing Tadasana on one foot. So obviously this is a great pose because we are balancing. And you could do a lot of different things with your arms. You could have your arms up. You could have your arms at your waist. You want to engage your core. You want to engage the muscles of your leg. You're feeling the balance. And hopefully you can smile during this. Let's do the other leg as well. So you don't have to lift it that far. In fact, I'm going to turn sideways for you so you see how far I'm lifting it up. Literally less than 90 degrees. So you could lift it up to 90, but you could lift it far less, or you could even just have it very far down. You're still balancing. So standing Tadasana, Superpose number one. The next superpose is chair pose. And chair pose, I'm going to show you from the side. You basically pretend you are sitting in a chair. Now, again, your arms don't have to go like that. They could come like this. You could even use your hands to support your thighs. Engagement is here in the belly, here in the thighs. Amazing super pose. So again, if you don't have a lot of time, chair pose is a great pose to try to do every day. So the next series of poses are the warrior poses, and we're going to do warrior 1 and warrior 3. Both of them are great super poses. I'm going to be sideways, but I'll also show you forward. So from a standing position, you want to take your right foot back and bend your left knee and try to get your heel on the ground. Now you will notice that my hips are facing forward. Yoga warrior pose 1, your hips should be facing forward. And this is an amazing pose. Now to get into yoga pose, superpose warrior 3, you put all the weight on the leg and lift up the other leg, going into a balance. Now, some people go way far down, whoa, and some of us stay up here. Hands could go here, hands could go there. And then obviously you'd want to do this on both sides to be even. So that's warrior 1 and warrior 3. So far I've given you 4 standing yoga super poses. Another super pose would be a forward fold, half forward fold. And I am going to show you this from the side. And the reason I'm showing you this from the side is so that you do this pose safely. So I teach my students to go into a forward fold with deeply bent knees and lay their stomach on their thighs. Now, if you can't see this completely, I will also show you this from a still picture. So a forward fold with deeply bent legs allows your back to stretch. Come halfway up into half forward fold. This pose allows you to engage the belly and lengthen the spine. And then back into a forward fold. And standing all the way up. Hands to the heart. So these are your standing yoga super poses. We'll stop the video now and we'll do the other poses as we set up again. Hello. So there's 3 new poses I want to show you in this little section. Wide-legged forward fold, triangle pose, and then a pose that I call the windmill pose. So all of them, you start with a wide stance, and your stance is based upon what feels comfortable to you. I tend to do a pretty wide stance and have my feet almost as wide as the length of my arms. So in wide-legged forward fold, literally you're just bending your knees and just folding over and relaxing here. This is a great way to stretch your hamstrings. There are so many different versions of this pose. You can go side to side. You can put your arms further away from you, doing a wide-legged downward dog. You could draw your arms closer to you, tuck your head in. It is a fabulous super pose. Okay, next pose is a version of this, which I like to call the windmill. And literally, you just windmill your arms up to the side as you're staying in a wide pose. Now, if you have any neck issues, do not lift your head up, or if you tend to get dizzy, you can look down at your hand. I'm using a block. You don't have to use a block. You can come deeper in this. A great pose. And the last pose with wide legs is triangle pose. Amazing super pose. So I have one set of toes facing completely straight to the wall. My other set of toes are kind of pointed in. My hips are off. I would say not completely open, not completely closed. And your arms are up, and literally you just allow yourself to bend over. One arm goes up to the sky unless you have shoulder issues. And this pose is really about twisting. It's an axial rotation and a twist. It's just a lovely, lovely pose. It works so many things. If this bothers your neck, you can look down at your foot or keep your head neutral. 3 more yoga super poses from standing. Namaste. I'm going to share with you 2 seated super poses. There's not that many seated super poses because, in fact, sitting is really not that good for us. So one of the poses, though, that is very beneficial is half Lord of the Fishes pose. And there's a couple of different ways to do it. This is a seated twist. If you're able to sit comfortably with one leg up like this and one leg bent like that, you could do this pose like this. However, for a lot of people, straightening the underneath leg makes this pose much more accessible. So all I'm doing now is really twisting from my waist up. Like this. I want to show you from the other side. Again. And the critical part is trying to keep both sit bones equally on the ground. So if you're doing that, you need to come back to center and do your seated twist like this. That's half Lord of the Fishes, a seated twist, one of the super poses. Now the other pose I'm going to show you is Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. And for most of us, sitting up on either a bolster or a blanket makes this pose much more accessible. So in fact, even just sitting like this is already a super pose, staff pose, because you're engaging so much. So I'm going to try to lean over and forward fold. Now I'm very restricted by my hamstrings. So for me, it's like this. So the critical part in this pose is to be able to lengthen your lower spine and then soften your upper spine. Seated forward fold. So I'm just going to continue on and go on to hands and knees and do some of the other great super poses. So from hands and knees, cat-cow is a fabulous pose. For me, it's very helpful to have something under my knees. So if you can, try to stack your limbs. Try not to dump on your wrists And then begin to stretch your front body with an inhale, lengthening my spine from the front. And then with an exhale, drawing everything in, tucking my chin and stretching my back body, possibly coming all the way down to child's pose. Cat-cow, a great super pose. From here, you can do bird dog. And bird dog is a balance pose. So I start with my right foot back, and then I lift up my leg, trying not to get my pelvis uneven. So in other words, I have a very engaged pelvis. And then you add the other arm in. A beautiful balance pose, super pose, packs a lot of punch. And that's another super pose. And let's continue. We're on a roll now. Let's go onto our belly and doing some version of a back bend. Now you can either do a locust pose like this, where I'm engaging all the muscles, or you could just do a cobra pose where you're literally engaging your upper back. And there are so many versions of this. Your arms can go back like this, airplane style. A great super pose. So we'll stop this video and move on to the next for our laying down poses. So the next series of super poses are on your back. If you find having a slight pillow is helpful, just grab a blanket or something. You don't want it to be a large pillow. It wants to be pretty flat. So we'll start with Urdhva Prasarita Pandasana. Big word. It's basically an engage your core pose laying down. So you can literally just do it like this, or you can start adding some action in this pose. For instance, you might do something like opposite arm and leg up and down to also get your brain involved. And boy, I can see that it is involving my brain because it's confusing me. These are really good poses for both moving your entire body, coordinating with breath, and also doing left-right involvement. The next pose also involves left-right involvement. It's known as wind reliever pose. So wind reliever pose can be accomplished in a couple of different ways. You can have both knees bent, arms go overhead on the inhale, draw one knee in on the exhale, arms overhead on the inhale, other knee in on the exhale. Or you could do this with legs fully straight, and it would look like this. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. If you want to get your brain involved, you would do it like this. Inhale, opposite arm and leg, exhale, inhale, exhale. An excellent pose for lubricating all your viscera, all your internal organs, getting your legs and arms involved and your breath involved. Now the next pose is really the true super green pose of this whole set, and that's bridge pose, a pose that you probably have done before. In yoga, it's very important to keep your breath working with the pose. So I'm going to lift from the bottom up, and I'm not going to go too far. I'm going to engage my front body on the inhale. I'm going to exhale as I get to the top. And then in order to keep my body engaged all the way down, I'm going to inhale, coming down. Now there are many different variations of this pose, but this is the basic bridge pose, a pose that packs so much punch. And last but not least is a version of a twist, a laying down twist. Now I teach my students to get into the twist by lifting up as if in the bridge pose, shifting the hips to the left, drawing knees in and allowing my knees to go to the right, possibly turning my head left or leaving my head straight forward or turning to the right. There are so many versions of twists, but a nice twist is a great superpose during the holiday. So as I promised, there would be an offer at the end of this. And my offer is if you sign up today, you can get access to my Yoga Pose of the Month Club. And I'm offering this as a special price today for $60 for the full year. So go ahead and sign up for that. And we will explore deeply one pose a month in a variety of different ways. You'll get videos, we'll have conversations about it. I'll even send you a piece of paper with a good description, a PDF that you can download for yourself. So this is Andrea Trank from Heaven Lane Healing and Creative Arts, and I wish you all a healthy, beautiful day. Namaste.